Hey guys, my name is Klondike, and today I'm going to show you how to do basic SQL injections. Before we get started, we're going to need to set the security level to low, which will disable any security measures the system may have. Go to DVWA Security, set this to low, and submit. Now let's take a look at the SQL injection challenge. The first thing we want to do whenever we come across any new web application is to play around with it and try to understand what the underlying code is doing. Looks like it's asking for a user ID, so let's enter some numbers. 1. Cool. Looks like the application is doing a request to a database with the user ID that we input and is returning some information about that user. I'm going to go ahead and open up Sublime here. If we were to rewrite this code, it would probably look something like this. Select star from table where. You see here that there's a single quotes around our potential input. This is just part of the query. Let's try and see what happens if we use a single quote to escape that and try another true statement, or 1 equals 1. And we paste that in there. Select star from table where user ID equals blank or true. So that'll select everything from the table because this or true will always be true. We have this single quote and this semicolon at the end. If we leave it there, it will cause a problem in the query. So let's go ahead and comment that out with a pound. We can copy our input, paste it into here, and it should return everything from the table. Awesome. We can see here we have admin, Gordon Brown, Hack Me, Pablo Picasso, and Bob Smith. What if we take this a little bit further? What if we try to get any information from the database? We can do that by appending another query on top of the original one using the union all clause. The trick is that for union all, we need to know how many columns exactly are being asked for in the first query, and we need to know the name of the table that we're trying to pull information from. First things first, let's figure out how many columns are in the original query. To do that, we're going to use the order by clause, which just sorts based on column number. What we're trying to do with the order by clause is start at a column number and increment up until we get an error. As soon as we get an error, we know that the last number is the total number of columns that are being requested. Let's go ahead and try this in our own query. Let's use a user 3 so that we get some sort of output, and then tick order by 2. It's a good place to start. What that'll do is we see that we have a first name and a surname that's being requested, so it's a pretty good guess that it's 2. Don't forget your comment at the end. And let's try it. If all works well, we should see hack me, as that is the user ID 2. Or, sorry, that is the user ID 3. Submit. It looks like everything went well. Let's try it again. Instead of column 2, let's look at column 3 and see if we get an error. Yep, there it is, unknown column 3 in order clause. This tells us that the original query is asking for 2 specific columns. That's probably something along the lines of first name and surname, based on the way the web application works. Let's try to find some information about the database. Let's do something like union all. Union all database oops, select database and user. And we don't need to worry about any sort of from table name. Database is a standard function in SQL that returns the name of the database that we're in, and then the user is a standard SQL function that returns the user that we're logged into the database with in the web application. So let's paste it, run it. We can see our database is dbwa and our username is root. So we're running as the root user on the database. Let's try and figure out what table we're using and the names of the columns in those tables. MySQL has a built-in database itself called information schema, which stores all of the table information and all of the column information for every database. That looks something like this. Union all select table name. All we need is the table name for this one. From information schema dot tables. We don't want all of the table names. We specifically want for the database that we're in. Table where table schema equals dbwa. And what we're going to do is comment at the end, and just for good measure, 3 tick at the beginning. Copy this whole line, paste it in, and let's see what we get. Awesome. Looks like there's 2 tables being used, guestbook and users. It's pretty easy to infer it's the users table that we're looking for. So now that we know that the table we're looking for is users, let's try and figure out what the username and the password columns are called. To do that, we're going to do the same thing. Union. Union all select column name from information schema dot columns where table name equals users, and we'll end it with a comment and start with a tick. Highlight this whole command, paste it in, and submit. Here we have all the column names of the users table. We have the user ID, first name, last name, user, which is probably the username, and password. Let's go ahead and do our custom query to select the username and the password for all the users. Union all select user password from users table, and we want all of them, so we're not going to do a where clause here. Don't forget your comment. Start with a tick, highlight, paste, run. Looks like we have the usernames and the hashed passwords for all the users. If you don't recognize what these hashes look like, you'll kind of gain it from experience and hacking more websites and playing around with a little bit more cryptography. But this is MD5 passwords, and MD5 is something that's really well studied. It's studied to the point that people have broken many of the easier to recognize passwords. So we're just going to go ahead and see if somebody's broken it already, and we'll do that through Google. So let's just copy that, paste. And it looks like several people have, so we can click on any of these. And it looks like the value is Charlie. I'm going to copy this, go back to DVWA. We can test it on the brute force challenge. We have the username 1337, and the password Charlie. Log in. Welcome to the password protected area 1337. So we successfully logged in. Alright guys, that's all I have for you today. There is a lot more that you can do, but the process and the mindset are the same. Try out the medium and hard versions of this challenge. In the meantime, please like, comment, subscribe if you enjoyed the video. Share it with someone who you think would enjoy it. I'm new to YouTube, but I hope to post more regularly and cover more advanced topics in the near future. I hope to see you next time.